Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Movies. And I just watched quite possibly the greatest movie of all time in theaters for its 40th anniversary, and that movie is Back to the Future. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time, maybe even my all time favorite. That's a question that can be very tricky for me to answer sometimes because it's a toss up between these movies: Silence of the Lambs, Seven, Terminator 2, The Batman, and the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's a hard questions for me to answer because I just love such a variety of movies, and maybe one day I can do a definitive top 10 list of my favorite movies. That way you guys can get to know me a little bit more and what I like and what I really appreciate in a film. So let's go back to that opening statement about Back to the Future being quite possibly the greatest movie of all time, because I think if you look at this movie with all bias aside, it actually could very well be the best movie of all time, and I'm going to tell you why this movie is so special. One of the many reasons I think this movie is so great, and that is its story. The story is set in 1985 and follows teenager Marty McFly as he is accidentally sent back in time by an experiment created by his crazy scientist friend Doc Brown. This experiment goes horribly wrong when Doc is shot by terrorists and Marty is sent back in time in the DeLorean. Marty then quickly learns that he's stuck in 1955, the year his parents first met and fell in love, but Marty accidentally prevents them from falling in love, and it's up to him to make sure his parents fall in love or he'll cease to exist. And what makes this story work so well is that it perfectly nails its tone and humor. The humor still holds up really well today, and you'll just be laughing and smiling the whole time you're sitting there watching it. I know I was as I was watching this movie in theaters. I was just smiling the whole time. I thought this movie was just still really funny, and that just proves just how extremely well written and paced this movie is. I don't think that there were any scenes to where I thought it was just boring or anything that didn't contribute to the plot. It's just a very fun and exciting story. I've watched this movie multiple times and I just never grow tired of it. And another thing that you'll never grow tired of is its characters. I just love the characters in Back to the Future. They're just so fun and memorable. Like Marty McFly and Dr. Emmett Brown. Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd just have an amazing chemistry together, and they're really just the heart of this movie and what makes this movie so special. I don't think this movie would work as well as it does if you didn't have these two characters. Like, for instance, well, these two actors, I mean. Like, for instance, if you had Eric Stoltz, who was originally in line to play Marty McFly back in 1985, I don't think this movie would work as well as it does without Michael J. Fox. But they're not the only great characters in this movie. Um, you also have tons of other great characters like Biff Tannen, and he's just a high school bully that you just love to hate, and it's really funny how he just bullies people and calls everybody butthead. It was funny when I first watched it as a kid, and it's even funnier now as an adult. I love his character, and I just love the ongoing like trope of him calling everybody butthead throughout the series, like how he's doing it as a teenager, how he does it as an adult, how he does it back in the Wild West and Back to the Future 3. Another character that I enjoyed more on my rewatch, and that was Marty's dad, George McFly. When we're first introduced to George, he's kind of a loser and he's very insecure, lacking self confidence in himself. However, as he gets acquainted with his son Marty back in 1955, he learns valuable lessons from him. Like if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything, and standing up for yourself to get what you want out of life. I love George McFly's character arc here throughout this movie, and how it's his son that has to teach him these life lessons to his own father. Just a really great and memorable cast of characters in this movie. Back to the Future was released back in 1985, and despite it being 40 years old, it still looks impressive in its visuals effects and its cinematography. Just a beautiful movie here, guys. Also, this movie just has an incredible soundtrack that consists of 80s bangers like The Power of Love and Back in Time from Huey Lewis. And the main original themes created just for this movie is just a banger to listen to. And these themes will just live rent free in your head days after you finish your movie. Like I'm still listening to the music from Back to the Future because I just love it that much. Um, Back to the Future is definitely one of my comfort movies. I can just watch this movie over and over and never grow tired of it. It's a pretty rewatchable movie overall, and each time you see it, you just appreciate it more and you'll pick up on stuff that you originally missed. Like when Marty knocks over one of the pines in the Twin Pines Maw earlier in the movie, it becomes the Lone Pine when he returns back to his own time in 1985. You just gotta appreciate little things like this because it just adds to the movie, and it just helps prove my case even more as to why this movie is just a masterpiece. Back to the Future has truly stood the test of time, no pun intended here, and it has had a significant impact on myself and pop culture. It's definitely one of those movies from when you first watch it, you really start to appreciate movies as one of the best art forms around because it's just so well made. To wrap this video up, because I don't want this video to go on too long, Back to the Future is just incredibly special to me, and I enjoyed watching this movie in theaters again with my girlfriend. If you haven't already watched this movie, try to make it to the theaters before it leaves because this is definitely something that you need to sit down in theaters and watch. Yeah, so Back to the Future, one of the greatest movies of all time, and quite possibly after I made this video, maybe my favorite movie of all time. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching another episode of Talking Movies. You guys enjoy.